NBA Draft Combine, the NBA Draft, and some Sixers news and notes with Michael Kaskey Blomain, 97.3 ESPN.com, at The Real Mike KB on Twitter. And we know, Mike, that the Sixers interviewed Buddy Hield and Brandon Ingram, and I guess that's the first pieces of this draft process, which will start on Tuesday night when they find out where they go. But let me start off with Ingram, Ben Simmons. Which way do you lean at the top spot?
I lean toward Ingram. I just think he's a better fit for both the Sixers and for the style of play that the NBA is kind of trending toward right now. He's long and athletic, and he can spread the floor. He's pretty big at 6'9", so, next to it, like an Embiid at center, he could potentially play the 4 or the 3. And I just think he gives the team a lot of versatility, whereas, Ben Simmons is definitely a stud. He would not be a bad addition, but I just think with what the Sixers already have in place and the style that Simmons plays, I just think Ingram projects better.
Do you think there's going to be too much pressure on a team at number one to pass on Simmons, or has there been enough positive stuff on Ingram that if the team took Ingram at number one, that they will not get a lot of flack from the public?
At this point, I don't think there would be a lot of flack. Coming into the season, it was projected that Simmons was kind of going to run away with this, the title of the best player in the draft, kind of be like a LeBron James, no-brainer decision. But, things that happened over the course of the season, his team not making the tournament, him perhaps, kind of underachieving maybe in some people's minds, and then Ingram's emergence, throughout the season and into the tournament, I think that's definitely shifted people, at least to the point that they would consider other options in Ben Simmons.
So they've interviewed Ingram. They said it went very well. And I know Buddy Hield as well. Buddy Hield would only be in play, though, Michael, correct, if they ended up with the Laker pick.
Yeah, you don't see them really selecting Buddy Hield with their own, a top 3 or 4 pick. He's a guy that projects really well to the NBA, but he's not necessarily a guy that I think the organization would be happy with if he was their, the big target of the main target of the draft.
Brett Brown told me Monday that he's greedy. He wants the Laker pick. Should he be greedy? Is this the year to get that Laker pick, or are you content waiting?
I'm greedy, too. I mean, especially considering that, we could have got it last year. A lot of people wanted to see the immediate return from the Carter Williams trade. We've already waited a year. This draft isn't probably the best. It's not the deepest, coming, but, you never know what a draft's going to bring. And I think it would be nice just to have, all of your prospects in front of you at once right now for the, Brian and Jerry, just to kind of assess and begin to move forward rather than, have another potential lingering factor next summer.
Michael Kaskey Blomain's with us, 97.3 ESPN.com. He's got a piece up on how Lady Luck needs to finally come into play. They have not had a lot of luck here. But before we get into that, the draft process here Tuesday night, your thoughts on, I said before you came on, Michael, I think that this could be the year we see the big trade on draft night. Do you think that they break up the big men on this team? Okafor, Noel, Embiid. I don't think Embiid's going to get moved, but do you think this is the year that somebody gets traded?
Yeah, I do. Whether or not it's necessarily on draft night, I don't know, but I would imagine heading into next season, training camp at the beginning of next year, either Noel or Okafor will not be on the roster.
Which guy's your pick? I think I'd keep Noel. Probably a minority opinion to some, but I think he's an elite rim protector. That's a skill in this day and age that you need. I think Okafor would be the guy that gets moved.
Yep, I'm with you. I keep Nerlens Noel, and that's not necessarily an indictment on Okafor. I think he showed a lot of potential as basically a sophomore in college playing in the NBA. But Noel, the potential of a great defensive player like that, and especially an athletic one that can get up and down the floor in today's NBA where tempo plays such an important part. I just think it'd be much easier to fit pieces around Noel and make a championship team than it would be maybe to do the same with Okafor.
So we got Thursday. We'll find out. And you mentioned about luck. They have not been able to do it. How important is luck in this whole next phase of this plan that somebody new is actually running? But this is what Sam wanted, to get to a spot where they were constantly drafting in the top half of the draft. But he has not had the luck. How important is it for Brian Colangelo to get that luck?
I mean, it's huge. The great thing about Sam's plan was that it maximized the team's potential to strike it lucky, by having multiple picks over a span of years. He gave them the potential to hopefully strike it lucky, and he wasn't really able to do it. He had decent players, but missing out on, the number one pick in 2014, missing out and winding up with Okafor last year, he just didn't have it. So going forward, getting the third or fourth pick again this year would be devastating, I think, for the franchise. It really needs one more, a key franchise-type guy to add. And, I just think that it's time. It's been 20 years since the team had a number one overall pick, and in that time, we had one championship appearance. I think, if they're ever going to get lucky, now's the time.
Michael Kaskey Blomain with us. And, Michael, what's the percentage chance that the Sixers get that Lakers pick in your mind?
I think statistically speaking, it's a little bit less than 50%. I don't know, the longtime NBA fan and minor conspiracy theorist in me thinks that the NBA wants the Lakers to keep that pick.
Pros and cards.
Yeah, something, the Patrick Ewing move. But, it's definitely possible. But, as Mike kind of alluded to, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it didn't necessarily convey this year. It would kind of just be another asset down the road that could come in and add to the team. But, there's a decent chance. I definitely, if I was a Laker fan, I'd be holding my breath until Tuesday.
And you wrote over at 97.3 ESPN.com, there is a 44.2% chance that the Lakers pick will kick to the Sixers. And that also, it's interesting, Michael, because the Sixers have a higher percentage chance to end up with the number 4 pick than they do 3, 2, or 1. But obviously when you add up 1, 2, and 3 together, they have a higher percentage to get 1, 2, or 3. But their best percentage is the number 4 spot, correct?
Yeah, the highest individual, likelihood is the 4 spot, which is pretty frustrating for Sixers fans to hear. But
how can you be the worst team in the league and end up with the best chance to get the 4th pick?
You'll have to ask Adam Silver that.
That seems to make no sense. And by the way, you guys were talking about
just don't try to shake his hand; he might blow you off.
you guys were talking about having the cold cards in the Lakers, and I told Pete earlier, you also have the Celtics in there. Lakers, Celtics, they're a little bit more high profile than the Sixers. So if they want to get another Magic Bird situation, you put Simmons and Ingram on those 2 rosters and watch the Celtics and Lakers get back to prominence again.
Yeah, that's a fear of Philly fans. We end up 3rd again and stuck, on the outside looking in. And both the Lakers and the Celtics already have a couple nice young pieces, and one more real quality guy like a Simmons or an Ingram could really push, both franchises over the edge. So, that's definitely an interesting storyline to, pay attention to. All
right, Michael Kaskey Blomain. We'll have more on the Sixers as the draft lottery, one of the biggest nights in probably, the last 10 years in Sixers history, 15 years?
Yeah.
They ended up with Evan Turner the one year. That was bupkis, though.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well, especially with Paul George and DeMarcus Cousins still sitting on the board.
Is it its own show, Michael? How does the lottery work these days? Do they still do the thing at halftime, or how does it, what can we expect?
I believe they do it directly before the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals on Tuesday. So I think it comes on ESPN at 7, and then the game's on at 8. So it'll be on for right before that first game. I mean, the lottery itself only takes 20 minutes or so, but there'll be some build up and some reaction.
And Brett Brown will represent the 76ers. We'll get a chance to see where they pick Tuesday night. We'll talk to Michael all about it and get you ready for the draft. Until then, check out Mike on Twitter at TheRealMikeKB and, of course, 97.3ESPN.com. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.